I genuinely didn't know if this was going to explode. This engine had been sitting abandoned for years. I had just rebuilt the entire thing in my garage. But it worked perfectly. And that was the problem, because I didn't actually have a car for it anymore. This was supposed to power a mid-engine Toyota MR2, a 7.5-litre American V8 in the back of a Japanese lightweight sports car. And I never drove it once. To explain why, we have to go back to the worst purchase I've ever made. I bought a stretched Cadillac limo. It came as part of a package deal, a hearse and a limo. Not because I wanted a limousine, but because of what was hiding under the bonnet. I used to buy these cars for the engines. At first I thought someone had just thrown a random engine in there. It wasn't connected to anything. No wiring, no mounts, no fuel system. It just lay in there. Just a huge V8 sitting loose in the bay, which raised a question. Why would someone remove an engine and then put it back without installing it? So I checked the numbers. And that's when the project changed completely. This wasn't just any V8. This was an Oldsmobile Rocket 455. 7.5 liters, an engine designed in an era where torque solved every engineering problem. And suddenly scrapping the limousine felt very wrong. But I needed to do something far more irresponsible. Instead of restoring the Cadillac, I decided to build the smallest car I owned into the opposite of sensible, a mid-engine V8 Toyota MR2. Now, fitting a huge V8 into a tiny car isn't actually the hardest part. Connecting it to a gearbox is, and I've seen this conversion done on other MR2s on the internet. The engine was designed for a front-engine, rear-wheel drive car. The MR2 is a mid-engine transverse, completely incompatible layouts. Unless you cheat. The Audi transaxle gearbox, used in GT40 replicas, Lamborghini replicas, basically wherever someone has a bad but exciting idea, and stretch the wheelbase about 30 centimeters. So mechanically, this ridiculous project might just actually work. There was just one small issue. I had no idea if the engine itself actually ran. I had two options, to run a mystery engine or to rebuild it properly. I chose the option that turns a weekend idea into a multi-month project, a full teardown of the engine. And this is why I expected to find catastrophic damage, because engines don't usually get abandoned mid-installation for no reason. But internally, it turned out it was just worn. There was no major damage. This was almost disappointing, because now I had no excuse not to continue. Rebuild kits for these engines are surprisingly cheap in the US. They are popular for marine applications, for boats, so I ordered everything. And that's the dangerous moment in any project, when spending a small amount of money makes you commit to spending a lot more. At this point, the engine was definitely getting rebuilt, which meant the MR2 swap was no longer just a joke. I had actually started doing this. I sent the critical components from the engine, the block and the heads, to a machine shop to be checked for cracks and so on. And suddenly I had weeks work in progress. And this is when most idle projects die. Instead, I started restoring the rest of the engine, cleaning it up, painting, repairing it. And when the block and the heads got back, I painted those as well. Because once parts start looking good, psychologically you can't stop. And reassembly is the reward phase of any bolt. Every bolt makes it feel closer to real. Clearances checked, torque settings correct, and finally the unnecessary but essential step, lots of chrome. Now came the moment that decides whether the months of work were clever or pointless, the first start. Fresh engine, unknown tolerances, unknown history. There's always a short period where you wait for a noise that tells you everything. Instead, it ran perfectly, and that meant the hard part of the project was about to begin. To make the swap work, the engine and an Audi gearbox needed an adapter plate. If this alignment is wrong, even by a millimeter, you destroy the gearbox. I had one of the aerospace designers working under me at the time design the interface. A nice 3D CAD design. We made templates, verified the alignment, and for the first time, stopped being a theoretical project and was about to become a car. We used water jet to cut the steel parts at the same machine shop which made the spacers for my Mercedes Mustang project. You can follow the link in the card to see that video. And then something completely unrelated killed the project. I moved house. So new responsibilities, new project, and that was to build a house. The MR2 was eventually sold, and the engine was sold separately to help finance the house project. And the car this was built for never existed, but I proved I could build it. And sometimes that's what projects are really about. Curiosity made physical. If you've ever had a project that almost happened, you'll understand this one. I have a few more stories to tell, so subscribe for more. And thanks for watching.